nation marches back to work, very often in defeat. We said on the 22nd of April, when we were forced to leave this colliery, that we were coming back. And I tell you one thing about Tower people, when they say they're coming back, they're coming back. And when we say we're going to make a good job of the business, we're going to do a good job. Many people closed Tower, and particularly some of the management in Tower, to get the pit back themselves. People told lies about Tower. They were lies used many times to close other pits. We'll prove that lie when we come back to work starting tomorrow.
It gives me great pleasure to declare this pit open, 100% owned by the workers of this colliery.
During the 1980s, Margaret Thatcher's government used the economic necessity of restructuring the coalfield as a pretext to pursue their vindictive battle against the British coal miners. Their aim was to weaken the political hold the miners had on the country. In April '94, the miners of Tower Colliery in South Wales were also finally forced to lay down their arms and accept the mine closure. But Tower's union leaders refused to be defeated and convinced the men to invest their £8,000 redundancy pay in an employee buyout. Since then, the company has been run as a cooperative, where the workers themselves are shareholders, employees and directors. Today they are still fighting, with the aim now to build a realistic future based on their vision of socialism and democracy. 6 of the miners are elected as directors with a 2-year term of office for the everyday running of the mine. Their responsibilities also involve the elaboration of company policies and dividend payouts, which are put to vote in the general meetings. With the union's approval, it is also they who employ or dismiss the mine managers. As for the rest of the workers, they exercise their full rights as shareholders during the general meetings, when they may choose to reject or adopt the company policies proposed by the board of directors.
Right. Welcome. And good morning. There is a French camera crew in the room. They're doing a documentary on Tower Colliery, and it'll be shown probably in France, Germany, and perhaps one other country. The proposal is that the camera crew remains. All in favour, please show. $60. 61, 62, 63, 63 for. Those against. I'll count them. 11. The vote was carried.
I couldn't just do anything. But you only have a cigarette, please.
Ready in there?
More than nearly full pack in it. Yes.
Going on.
Keep going.
It's very hard to describe to the viewers the feeling on the 3rd of January '95. That was the first day we actually come back to work, to lead a team of men down the coalface. I've never believed in men singing in the ground. You don't get it. But that day we did. The boys they were walking on air, they were. All the experts in Britain said we will not coal on the first day for various reasons, because the coalface hadn't moved for roughly about 9 or 10 months. We'd done 2.5 cuts that day. If you could imagine the feeling coming out that coalface at the end of the day, that we had proved all these experts wrong. We had done 2.5 cuts of coal, the equivalent to what we had done at the best in the British coal. That day you didn't want to go from here. But even now and again, I drive up the colliery early hours of the morning, or on a Sunday afternoon, and I park my car at the entrance. And on the entrance there it says Tower Colliery, the last deep mine in Wales, owned by us. Like, you know, it's still every now and again. I get pinch myself every now and again to realise that that's how it was.
They'll never beat the miners, never beat the miners, never beat the miners, no matter what they do. They can curse them and deride them, try to stop them, try to bribe them, but they'll never beat the miners, no matter what they do.
A couple of months that I was out of work, when we finished on the British call, I was devastated. I didn't know where to turn. I don't know how they can do it, but they played hell with me, I'll be honest with you. My wife persuaded me, as I didn't know what to do. I'm in an RN, but my wife, she was all for it, and she could see, she always had faith in Tyrone and Phil that they could do it, and I went with the rest of them and put the bid in to buy the colliery, and I think it's the best thing I ever done in my life. It was a risk at the time, but thank God it's paid off. I feel as important as the manager, if you like. Although he is more important than myself because he is the manager after all. I put £8,000 worth of shares in, same as the manager or anybody else who works here. So as far as I know, what's good for one is good for the lot, and that's the way I feel.
Go on now.
Tories are mistaken if they think the folks are quaking or shaking in their boots and facing them and all their plans. The miners aren't hiding, they're busy organising. Together they will win because together they will stand. They'll never beat the miners, never beat the miners, never beat the miners, no matter what they do. They can curse them and deride them, try to stop them, try to bribe them, but they'll never beat the miners, no matter what they do.
Hard stuff in front. Wayne, you've got to be careful. This is almost sandstones in this.
Almost sandstone.
Well, siltstones it is. Breaking off.
They're going to walk on past. Huh? You think you want to just work out? Huh? Never want to be in school to work at Eastman.
You can see that the site is 14 miles in circumference, and it takes an hour and a quarter to go around the whole site, travelling at speeds like this. You've always had people coming up trying to pinch coal, but when this colliery was first taken over, they were coming up here, the public, in vans to pinch coal from you. So they had to put a stop to it. Although it's a multi-million-pound firm, and the firm is doing well, you cannot afford to allow privileges of that extent or pilfering of that extent. It's tremendous. To explain to one man, right, of the concept then of business, to put a business head on a person that all of a sudden was just a miner one day or a labourer brushing up, right, and all of a sudden he owns a multi-million-pound firm. And he's walking around like this. Oh, that's mine, I can have that. Oh, that's mine, I can have that. I can take this if I want it. Hey, offer more. You can take that, but there's only one yellow mug. Well, aye, but it's mine, I own it. Yes, but he owns it as well, and he owns it, and he owns it. So what was happening was, there were people here sort of saying to their friends, our friend would say, oh, could I have a piece of timber? Yes, no problem, I'll get you a piece of timber. Could I have a steel girder? Yes, I'll get you a steel girder. And of course, it could end up in £100,000.
Utopia would mean that if everybody adhered to a socialist value in life, and I knew I could recruit one every day of the week, it would be perfect. We knew, even when we started, that out of the 239 that were eventually employed, I knew out of all those that nobody was ever committed to the outlook in life that myself, Tyrone and Glyn and a lot of others had in this company. What you got to do is educate them the best way you can possible. We done that, well, surely I done that in all my trade union life. But there are always people that are greedier than others. Don't forget, mind, that we've lived through 19 years of a government that wanted to wreak havoc on any form of socialist society, and really was a government that introduced an economy that lived for today and not for tomorrow, and the concept of look after yourself and nobody else. It's a perfect world. I mean, I wish it was there.
We are unique as the only successful colliery buyout by the workforce. People come from all over Europe, from all over the world to talk about this to us, because it's an old-fashioned thing to say, I know, but it's the old war cry of workers of the world unite. There are no boundaries. There are no dividing lines between working class people. We all think the same. We're all desperate to look after our families. We're all desperate to earn a decent living with pride. And that's right through Europe, right through the whole world. The workers have been divided long enough. And it's an unfashionable thing now, socialism. But it's the only true thing to be.
You can only take in this period.
Because
in winter.
Because what you got to remember, the concessionary fuel, right, is a benefit. It's a bonus, isn't it? If you take it at a time the pit can afford to give it.
What do you burn in here?
I am out of coal in 3 days. I'm going to
something like
7 almost. So, six.
Well, we're trying to bottle out now. Everybody, we don't increase the extra 10 concessionary because that's bloody, it's loads now, right? All you're saying is the 5-10 concessionary. We're looking at maybe those who can't feel they can survive on a 5 a year. They'd be offered to buy up to a 10, 10 or whatever a year at the cost price we would sell to the distributor. Right? And we're not increasing the concessionary across the board. Right?
All right, that's what
yes, right, no, that'll be something for us to try and knock together tomorrow. How are we? He'll burn 6 or 7 a year.
Lies, that's about fucking 6 tons.
6 or 7 ton a year.
Said I'll burn 6 or 7. That? You can make it.
What's here? Isn't it? Green dead up there. Not green dead at all.
Morning. My docket, please. Yes. Let's have a rest day.
Your P60, son.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
P60.
get swollen, slip where but half the sides of the down there. Yeah.
We decided immediately that there would not be bonus schemes in Tara Galilor. What we would do, we would take the average bonus we were all earning before British Coal and put it onto the basic rate. So each man's basic rate went up by £150. And other men went up by £100. And the men on the surface went up by £75. So we increased the basic rate. I mean, that was the crucial thing of all our planning. Because if you're chasing coal to earn money, that affects the safety of the mine. So by taking out the bonus scheme and allowing men to know on January the 1st, they could go home and talk to their families and know full well that in that year, even if they were ill, they were guaranteed to earn a certain amount of money so they could plan their lives. We could never do that with British Coal. Because if we expected the man to work hard, and we did, because the coal wasn't going to be any softer because we owned the pit, and the steel wasn't going to be any lighter. So how could we ease that burden? By giving them rest days and holidays. So if they had to work hard, at least they'd have more time to play hard. I put my vote in anyway. Number one. I'll see you later on. Okay.
That's one of the things they do in the Valley at the moment. They're sponsoring events, they're sponsoring the rugby team, they're sponsoring brass bands, they're sponsoring everything, and it's great. But as a part of the brass band, I had to come down all the way from Manchester, play in the brass band, because we marched for the miners, and everything they did, we were there. We were their marching band. So in that way, well, music speaks. He was giving a demonstration, but that's all I did. I would like to earn a good wage, but I wouldn't like to go down the mine. But I would like to earn their wage and own a mine company. It'd be wonderful.
You see already that as a company that we want to benefit our employees and ensuring on our side, as far as we're concerned, we're committed to you as a long-term investment, and we want that full commitment back of yourself. The employees in this company are also 100% shareholders, and you must deposit £8,000 into the company to become a shareholder. That bylaw is what we've got to adhere to under our articles. But obviously realising the position that as an apprentice we will not be looking to dramatically reduce your financial position. So I wouldn't let that worry you too much at this stage. Any sort of questions you'd like to ask us?
Is there still a union in place at Tower?
There is, yeah. We recognise 3 trade unions: National Union of Mine Workers, National Association of Colliery Overmen and Deputy, and the British Association of Colliery Managers. I encourage everybody to belong to a union, some people might think, well, what role has the union got in a company like Tower Colliery, where it's the employee and shareholders and you own your own mine? But at the end of the day, you will have a contract as an employee. And I believe that if at any time there is a misdemeanour to occur, or even something more serious, then you'd have the right to be represented by your union.
Out of my group of friends, I'm one of the only people who's got such a good job. I mean, others work in factories and just do line work, but I'm really one of the only people who does an exciting job. Most of them, they just claim dole. I mean, my parents both on the dole. Yeah, they're envious. Mind, they're very proud of me, but envious.
I got Blackburn on Friday night. Don't give a chance to get back. I got Blackburn.
All that, so is it? Engine, 6-cylinder engine. You know about air inlet? Yeah. Is the air inlet? Inlet flame trap. Right, that's a sealed unit, but on the exhaust side, we've got a 6 thou gap. Right? Yeah. Which will not leave flame through. If it's over 6 thou, you'll leave the flame out. So it's got to be 6 thou or under. I see. Right? Easy, man.
Can we move on to our special business and begin, if we may, Mr. Rosser, with you updating us on the mining situation?
The only thing that sort of bothers me about the laterals at the moment is we do know that we're going to go through a geological structure. We're anticipating we believe, to the best of our knowledge, how it's going to be. But we do know for this section of the laterals, we are going to go through a structure that we've got to deal with.
Okay. Personnel report, Phil.
What pleases me most is, I mean, the percentage of unauthorised absences is 0.07%.
If I could have figures like this 15, 16 years ago, I'd have been in the House of Lords by now. Well, if you had been employees like us... A little bunch of
Democracy is a wonderful thing. But the very nature of democracy should be outlined for the very aspects that it's reaching for. We need to make major policy decisions, and we must be allowed to do that as the board of directors on behalf of shareholders. We can't make every decision by going back to all the shareholders at every one time. Decisions have to be made, and they have to be made external to the 4 general meetings we have a year, or some information meetings we have in the canteen. It's all about building confidence. It's all about confidence that the shareholders, who are the employees, have confidence in the way the board are operating. They must have confidence in the board of saying that we intend to do this for 1998 and 1999 and year 2000. And if we do that, then we can't be put at fault.
Why are you facing this way?
Your office.
My office. Big screen. You know my serious look today, my pondering look of the future. All right, Slim. Good. That's it. Thank you very much. In 5 or 10 years' time, there'll be no mines left, see. Well, in Wales, there'll only be 2 places you can go underground, Tower Colliery and Big Pit. And in 15, 20 years' time, there'll be, you know, a whole generation who've never known what their parents did, and their fathers were probably a part of the most important industrial heritage of all time.
Yes.
And I believe this could be a really bonanza, you know.
From around the world.
Oh, you would? But I mean, the way I think, I would build an underground hotel as well. You know, you've slept in the plane, you've slept in the boat. Now come and spend a night in Tower Colliery's hotel. You know, 600 feet below ground. You know, experience a night of total silence. You know, the silence only you can experience 600 feet underground. When mining leaves this valley, I could still have another 400 jobs here, for long term for young people. And I think then the tower story becomes, I think, really important.
It does. It's a darn good idea. What's the feeling here?
Oh, I think once I've had a moment to speak to them and address them, I think I'll probably win it. But I just say to them, remember now, when I told you we were going to buy a pit, you said to me, Christ, you'll never do it. So believe me this time.
Look at the tower then coming in. This is Elaine.
Hiya.
In charge of the centre.
Have a badge to show where you've been, is it? Thank you. She put it on. Enjoy your visit now and listen to Glyn, yeah? Yes. You'll have to write an essay after.
Okay. Right then, this is the first we'll be visiting. This is a bit of history about Tower. The name Tower is named after a tower that was built in 1834 when the miners and iron workers from Merthyr marched over to Cullen Valley. They had a big meeting here. They dipped a white sheet in calf's blood. So it's the first red flag to be flown in the world. The big battle took place in Merthyr. So the coal owners then built like a little castle on the mountain, the side of the mountain in the Cullen Valley. And so the name Goitre Tower then, that's when it came into place. Everybody started calling it the Colliery Tower. So as you can see the photos here, do you all read?
Yes.
Good, right. That's the original tower there, look, on the right there, look, see it? Right. This is the explosion after 1962 in Tower, where 9 men got killed in Tower.
Oh.
Yeah. There's some of the old miners that were waiting for going down and rescue whoever was left down there. You can see that's one of the funerals. That's in Penwine, a little village where I lived on the road when I was about 13.
Oh.
In 1993, when the government, the Conservative government, went to close Tower Colliery on the British Coal Board, we reenacted when I told about dipping the red flag in the calf's blood, we reenacted that to help us fight the closure of Tower Colliery. We didn't use calf's blood this time, we used red dye.
Winston Churchill, one of our greatest leaders, ordered the killing of miners the shooting of miners in the streets of Tonopandi during the strike. That's the 1927 strike. In 1984-85, if the Thatcher government could have got away with shooting people like us, they would have. But I suppose things had moved on and we become more civilised, and it wasn't acceptable to shoot miners anymore. But they shoot us like horses. My brothers, my forefathers, shot dead. We are the survivors of all that trauma, of all that horror. We are the survivors of it all at this colliery, because we were all shifted here by British coal throughout the close-up program of the rest of the coalfield. They finished up with a bunch of Reds under the bed. Here we are, what Thatcher called us. We're the enemy within. We'll always be the enemies of capitalism. That's why she called us the enemy within, because we were the enemies of her way of thinking. And we had the effrontery to stand up and condemn it. And we had the effrontery to start climbing up the first few rungs of the ladder, getting above our station. Knowledge is power. You can't achieve any power without knowledge. Now, that sentence was on the banner of the colliery that I came from, Penrhogaiba. Knowledge is power, and there's nothing truer.
That is coming from the depths of the earth. Never been touched before.
I know you touched it.
In the ground for millions of years.
It is right. Millions. This is the first time that anyone touched it except that.
The whole idea of the notice board is that some of the members can't attend the meeting on Saturday, but they are allowed to vote. So I want them to understand what we're voting about. One of the first things I'd like to do is to have a brand new visitors complex where people can come and read about the history of Tower Colliery in particular, because it's the oldest deep mine in Europe. It's the oldest deep mine probably in the world that's still working. A banner museum, an exhibition room, a front terrace which captures some of the wonderful views from Tower Colliery. That would be one section of it. Now I believe in the next 5 or 10 years I can develop an underground structure in Tower which could include anything from classrooms, even an underground hotel where people can spend one night underground in an hotel. But also, I'd have examples of mining from the past and the future, leading up to a very modern, high-tech colliery, the last part of the Industrial Revolution, ending up with a trip down a mine in a shaft, and eventually riding up the drift and ending up on the surface. I think the visitors complex would pull hundreds of thousands of visitors into Hirwine. Then we could develop the land to build an industrial park with factories, a housing centre. All these things are possible in the future. I don't want the land to end up just being open casted and forgotten. We can create jobs in the community, we can create wealth in the community.
We are ready to lay down our lives for Tyrone. He bred us all the way. But you might not want to. But even when we're not sure of the directions of his decisions, you've got to follow that man.
On paper, it looks good. But I think we need to sit down and have a good chat over it. It's not enough. We had a 5-minute chat last week with Tyrone, and he put it over excellent. But it needs questions. We need to sit down, look at it, and then go back and have questions and ask this and that, But as like feasibly, it's excellent. But I don't think it's like communism. You can't work on paper. It's just not there. You can look at it and it's great. But once you put it into practice, you'd have to sit down, have a good chat, and see what people say. Because, it's all of us will vote in here, not just one man. We'll all decide.
Hello, pussy seem siarad. What's the matter?
Stick them pump, okay? I'll be with it. Watch out now. Put it down. Big blocks of sandstone.
Well, yeah, you know, they need it before we go.
That's where the battle's gone.
Hello. Right up.
Ground above the coal then all fell in up to about 30 to 40 feet. Bedded us up to just over our knees in the chocks. You couldn't see an hand in front of your face. It was a frightening experience. Will Diver was on the conveyor. I kept thinking it was Will all right because it was falling on the conveyor. But once it cleared, the dust cleared, and I was saying, Will just above us, and he dived back over the conveyor to safety.
By the way. Oh.
Still got the faces this one thing?
This is just, no, it's just like a shitty ground. It's just, come in. And the thing there is, the seam is there, and the back is there. It's just, we're up to 9 feet, 6 feet above us. There's a whole road there. And I think something happened up there. Just been a bit of a give or something, I know, that was happening there.
On the agenda today, first of all, will be the business complex. Now, issues have cropped up in the last 24 hours, which may have incurred us to delay the business complex meeting. My feeling is, as chairman, that we've got no choice. We've got to give the manager the right to go ahead and work in the colliery this weekend. What's your feelings on that?
I agree with that.
Phil?
Yeah.
Ken?
Yeah.
Tony?
Yeah,
right.
The condition that requires it.
So that's solved. The manager will be told that, yes, arrange for weekend work.
John, the GB tomorrow morning.
All right. Oh, wait a minute, we got myself and Robert Owen tomorrow morning. Then we got Peter Davis and Will Thomas tomorrow afternoon. Nigel's 8 o'clock, Carol is 12 o'clock. Sunday we got Mike and Steve Powell. And then Monday morning we got Mel Reese, Lynn Williams.
Right, let's get cracking then. Let's show winning, lads. Come on. All right, make sure you wait. Make sure you burn. You gotta get this. Give away.
when you do it. Just please. Hey, any box six, you will do them. Any overtime, I love it. And I'll just
Even though the mining industry has got a lot safer, it's still a dangerous industry, obviously. So, I mean, any bit of, inattention or negligence, and there's lives at stake. So, obviously, you've got to be disciplined. Underground is brilliant. It's exciting more than scary.
There's about 10 shops over there, right?
Yeah. How are you okay? I'm okay. Yeah, over there. You go there. Huh? A speech like Tara will fill away. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for attending the 3rd anniversary of the return to Tower. And it's been hard 3 years, but we're still here. We've got our rows, but always remember, we row amongst ourselves, but anybody else come outside to attack us, we're together. That's young Deeb, yeah? He's the youngest member of Tower Colliery. If he can take the cake.
The Spice Girls wanted this particular record for you, okay?
I believe that we have become a myth within our own lifetime. We've started to realize, perhaps, we're a part of a coal mine that is the oldest working coal mine anywhere in the world. And there will probably never ever be now a coal mine that will actually work 200 years. And that's what Tower Colliery is. From the raising of the red flag, from the Spanish Civil War, each and every part of the history of the last 200 years has been written predominantly around about Irvine Common. Well, I know tourism would fetch work into our valley. I believe tourism is going to be a mainstay of employment in South Wales for some time. So towards that end, start building our own, something different, visitors experience. I've spent 2 years with this now, and I've met everybody from the charity commissions to the Welsh office, the MPs in London, to people from Big Pit, people from the Heritage Park, you name it, we've met them. I'm saying, let's take it to the next step. That's my part so far, boys. I don't know if there's anyone on the top here want to speak. If not, we'll open it to any questions.
I think that complex is very, very close to this board of directors' hearts. Can you tell me, if it's in trouble, does the board need to come to us to take Tower's profits to bail it out, or will the board be able to do it?
We're not at that stage yet, but sometime in the future I'm going to have to come back here, if ever we get the lottery money, and show you the signed agreement. Tower Colliery Limited will not be putting money into this company, right? Now, if sometime in the future, and I'm going to tell you the truth now, that company got in trouble, I may one day be standing by us saying to you, do you think we as shareholders should invest £100,000 in that company?
What I think is that emotional blackmail will come into play. You'll use your skill to persuade us and keep us, if you like, at the back of the queue again for the benefits. Now, we are minding the call and we should be at the top of the queue for the benefits.
Hold on now.
And I think that what will come at that time, I'm sorry I'm swearing, but Tower greedy bastards, I'm grateful for a job will come in. Well, I'm not going to be grateful for anybody because I've worked regular all my life and the pits have made more money out of me than I have made out of the bloody pits. So I think we should be bloody first.
All they're asking for, and they didn't have to come to us, right, is a right to go to the next stage. Then, in 6 to 8 months' time, once all these papers be put in place, they didn't come into us. So what David's asking by there now is the question he should be asking in 8 months' time or 6 months' time, whatever. It's not going to cost us a penny now to go forward to the next stage. Nothing. No land, no open cast sites, nothing. In 6 to 8 months' time, that's all Tyrone's asking for, or the board's asking for, to go down avenues and to explore them.
Once you go down that avenue like sheep, we'll keep going that way.
I sat in this room 4 years ago.
I'm sorry.
4 years ago. When we said the same thing. Hang on, let me finish, Pat. We said 4 years ago we want to go down this avenue and buy the colliery. How many years ago remain, boys? How many people said to us then, don't go down that avenue because you don't know what's down there? We was right then. I think we're right now. But let's give the directors a chance to explore. Exactly. That's all we're asking for. Or they're asking for, sorry.
No. Where first?
It worries me that the concentration of the directors may be deflected away, and I know that already said this, will be deflected away from the day-to-day running of the mine. And there's several other people I know feel the same about it. Goodwill, in my opinion, is like a mother's love. You don't know how much of it you got till it's gone. I am telling the board of directors, don't take the goodwill of the miners in Tower Colliery for granted, because that's what some people feel. Trust is another thing. Don't take that you've got the complete trust of the miners of Tower Colliery for granted. You've got to earn it.
I hope people in this room trust me and judge me on my past and judge me on my history. Because I love that guy. If that's the game I want to play, I'm into that game. You can speak.
When I meant don't take the men's trust for granted, I meant don't take their feelings for granted and don't believe that they'll follow you no matter what. That's what I meant, Tyrone. We know the battles we've all fought in the past. Not only Tyrone O'Sullivan, all of us fought the same battle.
I'm getting a little disappointed by what I'm hearing. I can remember back, it's how long ago, 1984, being asked by Tyrone to join in a team to take forward a project to buy Tower Colliery. Now, I joined it not with a tremendous amount of enthusiasm, I got to say, but I joined it perhaps out of penance because I'd been involved in putting men out of work and I wanted to get them back into work. But one of the things I learned was to admire people like Tyrone and like all the people that worked with him. And one of the things that I liked about Tyrone, not only just liked but envy about him, is vision. He was the one that saw that you could buy the pit. The rest took convincing. So I would recommend to you that you vote for this, because it takes forward the whole philosophy of Tower Colley, and that's providing jobs for as many people as we can for as long as we can.
Tyrone, are you politically motivated in this? Will this give you any assistance at all? Will you answer?
Yeah. I've been asked to be an MP every year for the last bloody 10 years. I was asked, guaranteed, that if I want to be in the Welsh Assembly, that I will be in the top list of 20.
Yes.
Right? Guaranteed a job in the Welsh Assembly. And if you see me on TV, I said, no one can ride two horses. Right? My job, and I love doing it for 33 years, is developing employment for the community I come from. Right then, I'd ask you to show of hands. All in favour of the resolution, please show. Yeah. Few do from there, yeah? All against, please show.
You're not voting for the campaign, boy.
Right then. In the all, 451. In the all against, 35. Including, what do you call them again? Proxy votes, 476. Against, 98. So the against win it. Thank you, boys, very much.
I made eloquent, but I had to say what I felt.
Whatever your argument, I never do die. You know that? 10 minutes.
Too many fucking batters, man.
2 minutes after end of a vote, tomorrow's the next day, man. If I broke up after every vote I lost, there don't be anything left of me anymore. It's difficult to convince people that they're not just ordinary people, that they are entitled to better things, that they can think higher than just getting up in the morning and coming to work. Why can't ordinary people own companies? Why can't we run tourist centres? Why can't we create employment? Because I think we've got everything that anybody else have ever had. What we've got in town now is land. And yeah, perhaps I haven't raise the boys to feel the way I feel. And perhaps it'll need more time. Perhaps they may never see it. Perhaps one day people will understand that all these things are possible. And if that's dreaming, if that's too high a project to plan, so be it. It may never come about. Doesn't stop me planning it though, you know, or thinking about it. I'm just going to wait and see. It's not the end of the world for me. My job is to run a coal mine and try to make sure that 350 people have employment for as long as possible.
It's a good idea to have the mining museum, right? But I don't fancy it being through our money. I'd rather, I mean, call me greedy, call me what, but I'd rather take my money out and get on with my life, get on with a job somewhere else. the idea of Tower Colliery when they bought it out was to have just a long-term employment for coal miners. Do you know what I mean? Not for tour guides and things like that. And I'm sure that the shareholders could get more money when they want to come out. Because I mean, talking to some, the boys, they want to come out when the coal is finished. They want to come out, take the money, and some of them retire, have a happy life. Some go elsewhere, and they could get more money by selling the old company as one, and letting other people develop it than by developing themselves.
Some of them are obviously thinking of longer than 10 years. And how do we keep our jobs after 10 years, and what can we do for our children after 10 years and keep them in the Rhondda? Because otherwise, I mean, there's just going to be people, their children, their grandchildren, just going to have to leave the Rhondda and South Wales to just go looking for jobs. So, yeah, the point at the time of the buyout was just, like, keep our jobs for 10 years. But now they've got to think further on than that, and some of them obviously are, but all of them are not in that as much as they were in buying the mine.
He's a really sad man.
I'm a really sad man, yeah. Do you read me reflectors out, Jeff?
People like Wendell here would have benefited in the long run because obviously they've got more time here than people like myself. I mean, I'm only looking at the short term, at perhaps 10 years, and I'll be finished anyway because of my age, because I'm an old man.
Cheers, Wen. All right.
You mate.
I understand why a lot of people voted against it. The colliery was going through a bad patch at the time. They had trouble in the face, and it started a lot of talk was it. There was a visitor centre, and people say, "What are we worrying about a visitor centre? We have trouble down there. If you don't sort this out, why talk about a lousy visitor centre?" And I understand that, but who ultimately is to blame for it? It's got to be the directors for having it at the wrong time in the wrong place.
I tell you what made me open my eyes Saturday, because the vote went against us in that sense, right? Is that I can understand now why Labour councillors or Tory councillors do not go back to the people, because democracy is a hard thing, and it's a battle every meeting. And perhaps they went to a few of these battles in the beginning, and they just thought the people were stupid and thick, so they just carried on and thought, right, we bypass the people, and that's when the danger's here. That we can't do that because we're a cooperative. But I bet some people, there are sometimes when I think to myself, well, was it worth sometimes some of these people on the vote because they can't see further than next week's paper?
We're over-democratic at the moment, and there is a large feeling in the pit that we are doing that too much in favour of those people who should be attending the meeting. I'd like to see 286 people there every time we have a meeting. I know that's impossible on occasions, but surely somebody must have a very valid excuse not to be at that meeting. And proxy votes are an easy way out with regards to voting.
Well, what about that pack? Can you drop that pack of timber on the... Well, it's hard to pick back up in there. Well, I tell you what you can do, go back over the bay cave and shunt some of the scrap down off the hill for them.
Your attention, please. Will all guests please make their way to the main conference hall for the opening ceremony of today's energy workshop? Thank you.
I suppose if this conference is about anything else, it is about challenging the fashionable fatalism that coal is a dying industry. We've got to bury the image of Welsh coal as an old, inefficient, failing industry, something belonging to the past. Today we're signalling that it belongs to the future, a new future for a new era, a modern Welsh coal industry. It's more efficient and more environmentally friendly. And the Welsh Office plans a new partnership to ensure a climate in which the industry can maintain a place in the market and in which also the nation benefits from diversity of fuel supplies.
Well, Tara Galilor is socialism in practice. That's what's very exciting for me as a socialist minister in the Labour government, to support it and to say this is exactly the kind of thing we want to encourage. Workers working together to form their own company and to make it efficient and competitive. And that is a small example of rejecting the old past where there was a manager at the top and a worker exploited down below. Here at Tara Galilor, everybody is working together to secure their own future and to make themselves highly competitive. And they've done so true to their principles, and they're a leading coal company, and that's a marvellous advertisement for socialist policies.
We, the older generation in particular, have gone through so many things in the past. And we must pass on the things that we've learned regarding caring for others, caring for communities, caring about people's jobs. No wonder you're no good in Spain, innit? Huh?
I wasn't trying to Spain.
Sure. Where else is going now?
The whole spray, I think. That's it then, apart from taking
The what?
these up. The
Lee,
big bit.
he asked me the other day, what is socialism? He didn't know because he's a child of Thatcher. They don't know about these things. And it's for the older generation to explain these things to them.
That's right.
Take it off now.
Oh, we're just laying it.
Right, the other side then. Right, put his tools away in here. And let's go to baths. Where?
To talk with Tyrone.
Where are you working today?
In the fitting shop.
Oh. Surface agenda.
Yes, I...
Make a change on the ground.
Yes.
I just asked you to come along to see how it's going.
Well, excellent. I got it's faultless so far, like.
I know you're fitting in with the community of the pit.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you see us with the company, because you're now a shareholder.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes you might look at this and think, well, what the hell are you up to now? Right? Isn't it enough just to own a coal mine? But the funny thing, it's not and never is enough. In the next 10 years, I want to develop another 300 jobs on this mountain. Now, there's no reason why we can't do that. You own a pit on the side of the mountain. Right? Those things are yours. They're not mine, they're not Tyrone O'Sullivan's, they're yours. And any ideas you've got, you bring them to us. If you think a golf course would go well, right? Or pitch and putt. Or anything you can think of that could develop our land for the future to create jobs.
The Margam project is something which has been going on in South Wales for the last 25 years. What it is, there's a large reserve of coal available for work, but it can only be worked by deep mine methods. So what we're looking to do is to start a new mine down there to access those reserves. It's a mutual thing. It increases our life, our production, and it also gives Celtic reserves. But at present, they actually own the site. We haven't as yet formalised the arrangements. What we're doing is, because we're not certain of the prospect itself, we need to satisfy ourselves and our shareholders at Tower that there is a workable mine at Margam. If we've got a good marketing and a good mining position, we will then combine the two aspects to look at the financial model, and if it's a goer, then we will look to form a joint venture. It's either 50-50, half each, or nothing.
Going off on a slight tangent, the only other thing which there's been concern over is that this job isn't seen, or this project isn't seen as something where Tower's workforce is going to be taken in toto and moved down to there.
You speak to the people underground at Tower, they say Tower's got 15 years, okay, so it'll be 5 years to get up and running, so in 5 years' time Tower will have 10 years life, in 5 years' time Margam will have 25 years life, right, we want to go to Margam. Already people within Tower are thinking, okay, is there the potential for a filtering of a segment of the workforce into the Margam scheme? And then they ask the next question, can we keep our shares in Tower?
I think we are going to have to give some commitment along the line, though, that it will be predominantly local jobs.
Of course. Yeah.
But using Tower as the sort of the area of expertise to train people and provide the knowledge, you know, but that they will be local people.
Now Margam is a business. It's a mine that's going to cost 25 million to get it working. Now I don't know what the chances are of getting some money out of the government in 2.5 years' time to sink into Margam to create jobs and to perceive better terms and conditions, a part ownership in Margam. That may be possible. But today I don't know, because the only option open for Margam at the moment is a capitalist-bought pit with capitalist money from the banks. Workers haven't got any money. I need to convince the TUC that a way forward is companies being run by the workers, right? I need to convince the Labour government that they put some tax concessions in, so if a company can be taken over by the workers, that they would have some concessions. So get people believing that there is other things other than capitalism, right, or communism, right? There is somewhere in between, because in communism the workers didn't have the rights, right? So if my wider picture would be right to convince people that workers' buyouts, such as ours, or workers or companies run by workers, can be beneficial if you're all sharing equally in the benefits of the company.
As you see from the sheets that you have received, this is a modified version of a visitors complex. And the reasons why it had to be called today, with regards to there is a deadline to a date for any grant funding that could be made available to Tower Colliery.
What we need is to put into the balance sheet and put into the assets of Tower Colliery a new pit. And if we can get the grant for it, free, great. Now, some people have said, oh, well, they look at the visitors complex, they look at, it'll never work. I don't know if it'll never work. But even if the visitors complex, in the extreme case, fails, they can't take the drift off us. It's not like a lathe in a factory. You can't dismantle a drift and take it away. That drift and that access off the new drift for Tower's future underground mining is there for us forever, and no one can take it away. No one.
I think basically we got enough on our hands in Tower. We got this so-called Morgan project going ahead, and again, there's a couple of us got reservations on the Morgan project because, unlike the chairman of the board, then perhaps we got different views on what happened in the past in regards to Morgan.
When you went through the pit, you were shut at 40, but when my father left the pit, he looked behind and he left me behind there. When I leave at Tower Colliery, I want to make sure that Anthony and all the other boys, a lot younger than me, that they are left at that place still working, and my pension's in place. It's not going to really affect this new drift and so forth, because of my age. But look at the younger men around there. They want 25 years by him, we haven't got it in the present scheme. So yes, we've got problems mining coal, problems selling it. But we can't stand still and just worry about what we've got now.
The reason why we purchased Tower was to mine coal. Now we are going on into tourism. Now we are advising Celtic Energy. I mean, are the directors involved in Celtic Energy? I know they're involved in tourism, okay? And what I can't believe is this. The board of directors spent loads of time on this project of tourism. And now they took us down the road because you were called a vote on it. And now, because you lost the vote, you are now saying we have to have a feasibility study now all of a sudden because we are not sure now whether it's going to pay or whether it's not going to pay. Now, I find this all hard to believe. Your job is to sell our coal. And the other thing is, you're not giving away any of my assets in Tower. And if you think you're going to swan off and let Heritage Park have the pit, you've got nothing coming. Because I'll do all I can personally, right, to put a stop to it. I'm telling this to your faces now. I am not going to back off. You're not giving away our assets. I am disgusted with you all. You're shameful.
I think...
Shameful.
I think that was a very, very personal thing.
Absolutely,
right?
It's meant to be personal.
And you don't mind if I respond?
No, I don't think. That's why
Thank you. And I think every director wants to also.
Yes.
We would also be condemned as board of directors if we didn't look at anything that may be proposed to us. Okay? Because any member, any shareholder of this company would reserve the right to criticise this board of directors if we didn't look at the Margamine project, if we didn't look at the visitors complex, if we didn't look at the power generation plant, if we didn't look at the methane project. We'd be criticised for that. Right? And rightly so. I don't like the personal remarks you made, Ron, and I think that a lot of directors here want to respond to that. Right. Wait a minute, Ron. Last bit of Tony is... Wait a minute, Pat. Wait a minute. You're entitled to talk in your turn. Tony, I said.
Right. I think that perhaps for the next meeting we should co-opt onto this board of directors the 3 C shareholders. Because, I tell you why, right? Because I've never seen such tunnel vision and come on. Hey, Di, let me finish. No, hey, nobody interrupted you, Di. You were quite entitled to say what you wanted to say. And I'll tell you why, right? Because there's Ronnie sitting over there, there's you sitting there, and Pat. You all know what's best for the bit. There's you saying about the 9 feet, right? The 9 feet is not this. You don't know information. You are passing a judgment and making an opinion on information you do not know. You don't know about it, and you don't know about it. You don't. And what I'm asking, what I'm saying to you is that if you're going to make a judgment, right? Pack up a minute, right? If you're going to make an opinion, and if you're going to pass judgment, and if you're going to make a vote or whatever it is, get the information first.
When you have coal, if you've got bad coal and good coal, you blend them. So you can sell the bad coal, right? Well, the same with these 2 plans. You mix Tyrone's Heritage Park, his dream. Now, Short's dream is to get a strip, which is a good idea.
So let's not get too personal, because it's beginning to get up my bloody nostrils now about the tax on directors here. If you don't like the directors, there's a way of doing it. You bloody vote them off. But the personal tax can stop now. It ain't Tyrone's dream, it's all our dream. And it ain't Tony Shott's drift, it's everybody's drift.
I would suggest that we move to a vote, if I may. Will somebody propose that we take a vote? Second it? Okay. Can I ask those in favour, please, to show? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. There are 20 hands in favour. Can I ask for those against, please? 1, 2, 3, 4 hands against. 20 in favour, 4 against. The result of the proxy vote, the resolution is 77 votes in favour, 34 votes against. I'd like to conclude by saying to those people that have attended, and Phil has commented earlier, it's a cause of considerable concern and sadness that there aren't greater numbers of people attend the meeting, but we would like to say to those that have attended, it is appreciated that you have made the effort. We think it's important, you clearly have felt it's important, and it's important that we try and get as many people to meetings as we possibly can. Thank you for attending.
Maybe people would look at Tower Quarry as middle-class people currently because of the terms and conditions and the wages that they earn, and that's probably right in an outlook of life. But it doesn't stop you giving away your socialist or working-class principles. People might have called us capitalists when we first took the business over, but what we did was that we played the system off at its own game, and we had out of it what we wanted. And I just generally think that's where we are today. You may have to play the system at its own game. And I think that's what the best thing that you can do at this moment is change and play the system of the Labour Party at its own game. And then on one day, in a few years' time, get up and say, I move forward the proposal which I believe should change the current legislation of the party, or the manifesto of the party. And you only need a majority for that. But I think you should do it from within.
What you've got to accept as reality is that the world has swung to the right. And the most part of the world now comes under capitalism. Now, there is no magic formula. Right? I believe it's hard work. First of all, you get reform. First of all, you get education. And then, perhaps, you may have a revolution. Hopefully, we will never need the revolution then, because we'll be able to reform.
It's a communist butterfly. Where we going? Where we going?
The union forever defending our rights. Down with the black flag, all workers unite. Our brothers and our sisters, together we will stand. There is power in a union.
Whoops. While I've been at Tower, I've heard mostly I've heard the NUM side of the story, but I have also heard the other side of the story. It was like shivers down my spine, like, because I could understand, I can relate, whereas a year ago I wouldn't have been able to. even today we see unions that are struggling, and as I'm a union rep now, I mean, I've seen it. There's we get a lot of feedback off other unions where they want our help, and we're happy to help them, and that's what the motto could, the motto does symbolise, is that it's not only us, it's not only us in the world, not only coal miners, not only Tower. There's also nurses and dock workers and lots of other unions which are willing to help.
Number 7 on the list. Ladies and gentlemen, Tyrone O'Sullivan.
Comrades, when Tower closed in 1994, I could never ever foresee, ever, another miners' gala. So it does make me proud to be here today. It must have been a wonderful year, 1898. When I think of the miners' union, 100 years, and what we've lost, now it's gone. I tell you who knew about the miners and their strength was the Tory government. They didn't close the pits because we couldn't mine it economically. They closed the pits because they feared the miners. You're going to go out and fight for what you want. When you read the Tower banner, read the bottom. Eternal vigilance is the price of freedom. And that is more so for ordinary working people. There is no smooth road. Whatever you get out of life, you get because you fight for it. Look at this institute, a miners' institute. Created by miners' pennies. Not for bingo, not for drinking, but for culture, for education. When the government wouldn't give education to the people, the miners went out and created their own methods of education. We'll never be rich boys. We'll never be millionaires. But we'll have a job to get up to in the morning and to come home with some money for our families. And that's important in life. People say the unemployed don't suffer. Of course they suffer. The young suffer. How can you expect parents who are both unemployed to spend enough care and attention with the child with the homework? They don't know where the next penny's coming from. So we've got to get people back to work. I'm proud to be here today. Who knows? Betus, lovely to see him here today. Because Tower have taken all the glory and publicity, but Betus is there, a working coal mine in Wales. There may be amalgam. Who knows? We're back next year. If there's enough pits out there, we're back to the cities. It's great to see you here today. There's a new future out there for us, but you've got to fight for it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.